always got to remember to put on the right hat. All right, let me go to the YouTube channel and see if it's up and live, and I believe it is. Hot damn, hot damn. Make sure the audio is coming through. And it is. Excellent, excellent. Okay. Now I'm going to bring up the chat over here so I can see that. I'm going to expand this so I can see what I'm doing. But hey, everybody, welcome back to Misfit Corner Comics. It is Wednesday night, and we are live streaming. This is my weekly live stream on Wednesday night from 8 to 9. Yeah, it starts at 8, roughly 8:05, and goes for about an hour. I specifically work on art and talk comic stuff and say hi to people. I missed completely last Wednesday. The day just got away from me. There was so much going on during the day that at one point I looked at the clock. It was almost 10 o'clock at night, and I went out to my wife and I said, today's Wednesday, right? And she said, yeah. I said, I completely missed my Wednesday night live stream. Poop happens, guys, but that's okay. All right, so tonight we're going to continue working on these Hawkeye pages for Hero Book 1. This is a backup story that I've been working on for a little while now. I have had to do some of the work off stream. I still recorded it, made a video of it to use in a later video, like a speed video. But even though I did not live stream last Wednesday, I still did do some work. And matter of fact, I completed the inks for page 2, which actually came out really well. I was really happy with that bottom panel. A little bit of action, some really great faces there. And so now we're going to be working on page 3. One of the cool things I picked up is the company that I buy my comic book supplies from, my bags and boards and magazine bags and so forth, was having a clearance sale, and I was able to order some 17 by 14 top loaders, which are perfect for this size. And I put 2 in my basket, and then ordered some magazine bags, and then some graded comic bags. And then there was like a $30 discount. I couldn't figure out why. Turns out the top loaders were on clearance. So I threw another 10 pack in there and got 30 of them. So they're great for displaying stuff. Actually, matter of fact, let me show you what I'm talking about. I put some old hero art that had just been sitting around, some great looking pages in top loaders. That's one page there that was just sitting around. It's another page. This is actually from Hero Book 3, which hasn't come out yet, and this is a page from Hero Book 2, and this was the page I recently did for Todd. This is a homage to some classic Marvel feature, and it has some of his characters from his adult fantasy universe, and I'm actually working on laying out an idea for the next one. The next one I'm going to do. I've already picked out like 20 different classic covers that I really, really like. I'm just going to find the one that fits the idea of what I'm trying to do with these characters. But in the meantime, let's get back to work on Hawkeye. All right, so this is page 3. Let me just mess with my camera a little bit. Obviously, what you can see in this page, Hawkeye is aiming his arrow. He shoots it at the wolves, kind of surprises them, kind of scares them off just slightly as he tries to run away, but he's actually going to run towards a cliff. He's getting ready to find out that this forest has a limit, and he's getting to the edge of the forest. So in the meantime, we're going to draw a little bit. I'm not sure if I want to start with the top panel or work on the middle panel. I think I want to work on the middle panel first, just simply because it's just kind of funny, this middle panel. You've got the wolves here, and this one particular wolf is kind of scared off a little bit by the arrow. All right, as you can see, sometimes I don't follow the pencils very good. The pencils are actually, my pencils for me tend to be guidelines of where I'm supposed to go, but things can change. And for this particular one, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create some new space. What I have found with my vision getting as bad as it has, I kind of do less and less detail. I kind of do a lot more sketchy type details, but my style has gotten a little bit more scribbly. And what I mean by that is, I don't have to be so precise. I just fill in black areas and just kind of scribble a little bit. I know that doesn't make any sense, but to me it makes perfect sense. So, all right. And honestly, these characters here, I can get a little scribbly with them, and it works out okay. You know, these aren't these aren't technical drawn characters, meaning they don't have a lot of precise detail. Since they're covered in a lot of fur, I can go a little bit kookier with them, and it still works out okay. It kind of helps in the fact that I have a hard time seeing what I'm doing, you know. And that's just a fact of getting old. But, yeah, oh well. That is just part of the deal. All right. I think it's one of the reasons why I like these particular characters is because I can go as loosey-goosey as I want with the art style, and it still tends to work really good for them. I did come up with an idea for another new backup story that I want to work on. It may end up being a backup story that gets published in Hero Book 2. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I still need to design the characters, and what's actually kind of funny is when I was thinking about this new story, I realized that I kind of already designed the characters while working on something else. So I may be able to use designs that I already did. Not that they were abandoned designs, but I drew characters just for the fun of it and didn't really have any reason for them. I didn't have any actual story involved with them, and I realized now that I have something I can do with them. So I'm actually looking forward to going back and revisiting the idea. So just to shoot the crap about some of the stories, in Hero Book 3, we set up a storyline that's going to happen in Hero Book 4, which is there's a rival kingdom, because Hero is going to visit a place that's kind of like feudal Japan, and the story sets up that there's another kingdom in which the king is kind of being blackmailed into attacking the kingdom that's actually ruled by Hero's sister. And the reason they're being blackmailed, or how they're being blackmailed, is the Rat King, the main bad guy. He has infiltrated their kingdom, and some of his operatives have kidnapped the princess, and they're holding her for ransom. And they're kind of saying, okay, you're going to go attack this other kingdom, or else we're going to kill the princess. So that part of the story gets revealed early on in Hero Book 3, but we don't do anything with that story because that's actually part of Hero Book 4. Hero goes on an adventure to save the princess, and so that's Hero Book 4, and it's supposed to be partially a pirate story because the people that have kidnapped the princess are pirates and have taken her to sea, out to sea. So it'll be an interesting story. But I wanted to introduce the princess and tell you a little bit about her. So I have an idea for a backup story that I want to work on. and it'll happen when it happens. But I was thinking about using the backup story in Hero Book 3 or Hero Book 2 kinds of as an introduction to the character, where you may not know what's going to happen to the person, but we're gonna be introduced to her at some point. So, all right, a lot of hatch lines here, just layering it on, and he's like, "Oh my goodness," you know. Kind of shocked that this arrow came right by his head. He's like, oh crap. At this point, we're gonna when you're drawing something like teeth like this, you kind of gotta put in a little bit of detail. That's what I'm doing here. And then we're going to put some shadow in the background. Adds a little bit of depth. And then, of course, for some reason, I don't know why, but the wolves have like black gums. So we're going to fill this in with black. I don't know. I think when I was looking up reference for wolves, and I seen pictures of them where they were baring their teeth, their gums were like really dark or black, and it actually it makes like for a really interesting effect. Okay. Do that there. We may add a little bit more detail in a little bit, but in the meantime, let's add some more. Okay. So when Avery did the color on Hero Book 1, which actually introduced these wolves characters, I had done the original drawing. There wasn't a lot of detail in them. It was really just, I just drew the outline of the characters pretty much, and then he filled in the colors. And the colors actually made a layer of he actually did a really good job giving them a lot more depth. So now, in order to build that depth, I have to kind of do it with shading, because my plan is to produce this story in black and white. So what he did with color, I'm going to do with just plain ink. Give this character some depth here. All right. One of the advantages of doing a close-up of a character like this is you don't really have to do a lot of detail. You can just imply form. You don't have to show the whole body, but you get the idea. And actually, I want to put more of this side of the face in shadow. So we're going to add more hatch lines here. Okay. All right. He's kind of filling out well. Now, one of the things that I'm doing differently with this, in the Hero Book 1 and Book 2 and Book 3, I would often do each panel separately. That way, if I was going to break the border like I do here with his head, this whole panel would be drawn separately, and then I would just put this panel on top of this panel. But since I'm doing the art all on the same piece, it makes that a little bit more harder, but that's okay. We're going to... it's one of the advantages to doing... to drawing on two separate layers, or doing images on all separate pages. But I really want to do this story classically, as you can tell, where the idea is that the art is all on one piece of paper, one image. I'm not sure exactly why I'm doing that way. I think at one point I just said to myself, I want to make it look like an actual comic page. Alright, so there you go. This guy is a little bit more defined here. I may add a little bit more rendering later on, but for right now, he looks good. He looks good. Actually, when I'm looking at him on the camera, compared to where I'm looking here, it actually looks pretty good. I'm happy with it. Alright. So, let's work on one of these other wolves. They're kind of smiling. Oh, one of the things I thought was funny, it wasn't until I was finishing up the inks on page 1 that I realized that I forgot that the leader of this particular pact, his name was Scar, and he had a scar on the side of his face, over his eye. So I added that. With whiteout, and I forgot there was another character. Another one of these characters whose name was Ghost, and it was because he had like a white streak in his hair, and technically I can kind of add that later too if I want. But with these guys in the background, I'm more or less just messing in it. They don't have to be perfect. So what movie did we go see this week that I thought I was going to tell you guys about? I was Mike invited us to go see Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, because I guess it was the 20th anniversary of that movie. Maybe it was the 30th anniversary. Either way, it's been a while, and we had a lot of fun seeing the movie, and it's been a while since I've actually watched it, so what was actually funny is we were kind of riffing on some of the story, some of the dialogue. That was, I mean, it had its memorable parts, but it also had some really silly dialogue. But we had a good time. It was funny. We went with my nephew Cameron, who I don't think was born when the movie came out, so he never saw it in the theater. And Mike and I remember seeing it in the theater because. Hell, Mike and I remember going to see Episode 1 in the theater. We saw that a couple of times in the theater. Because that was great. That was great. That was... Well, I always joke that Star Wars, New Hope, and Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi, those were my Star Wars movies. And Episode 1, 2, and 3 were his Star Wars movies. And then episodes 7, 8, and 9 were my nephew's Star Wars, and obviously he got the worst of the three, but it was interesting going to see the movie again. We had a good time, and that's always a good thing. That's always a good thing. You want to go see a movie, go have a good time. And we're going to go see Thunderbolts tomorrow night. We're going to go see an early showing on Thursday night, and that should be a lot of fun. So we're looking forward to that. Rewatched Black Widow last night with the wife. I don't remember actually seeing that movie completely from start to finish, because I think the time I watched it, the actual time the first time I saw the movie, is we were on a plane, and it was a plane trip back from New York, and I watched it, but I didn't have any headphones, so I did not actually hear the movie. I mean, I read some of the subtitles and so forth, but that was it. It was kind of cool to actually see the movie, because I hadn't actually watched it since then. I probably should have. I'll fill that in a little later. Drawing in the wolf fur here will actually help make the arrow stand out, because the fur is going to be all black and hatchy. It'll make it easier to see, maybe make it easier to see the arrow sticking out here. Yeah, sometimes you never know. All right. What I might do is I have a white pen that I can actually use to outline this. So if that makes it easier, it'll make it easier to see it. Now I'll go and do this wolf here. So this wolf is further in the background. We don't have to do as much detail on him, as he's further back and out of the way. We can just imply where he's at. As you can see, when I did the drawing of him, I was very loose with it to begin with, so it's one of the advantages to doing characters further in the background is, you don't have to do as much detail on them. You just have to imply where they're at. Yes, I know it's a cheat. It's a way of cheating doing the drawing. You didn't actually draw the character. I know. I just implied where he was at. Just fill in some rings here. Give you an idea of where this guy is at. Fill in lines, and there we go. All right. All the wolves are filled in. Actually, let me just do a little bit more hatching here. Put him completely in the background. Yeah. Fill in some blacks here. There we go. Let me do a little bit more here. honestly, when this is all scanned in, you're not going to see a lot of this detail anyway, because you lose a lot of the detail when you scan these things in. And then, since I got time, I'm going to do a little bit of inking in here. Just fill in some. Just add some trees in the background. I'll be honest with you, this part of the panel probably won't make it into the page, but that's okay. Sometimes I just like to fill in stuff, even though it probably won't make it into the page. Because I do have a template that I use, a 3-panel template that, depending on the page layout, I'll decrease the panel size. Like I can do 2 panels, 1 main panel, 1 large panel, so forth. I'm just gonna go. I'm not gonna go all the way down to the bottom here because I have to. Oh, sorry, I have to draw in Hawkeye. I'm just going to apply the lines here. Not all the way down. Just sometimes the quill pen gives an additional effect in not only is it thick to thin, but it also will spread the ink. Often it'll spread it not as thin, so it actually gives variations on the pen, which works out okay, especially when you're drawing backgrounds. I have to be careful I don't do exactly what I just did, which is splotch ink on the page. Good job, Drew. Good job, Drew. Let me see. Do I have a napkin over here I can use? All right. We're not going to wipe. We're just going to dab. And honestly, that's not that big of a deal. I can actually work it in. I can use a little bit of white out at some point to clean that up if I want, but that's not a big deal. Actually, I shouldn't be doing this at an angle. I should be doing this flat. So let me stop messing with the pen. I want to. All right. That will have. All right. Important step is putting the lid back on the ink. All right. So, do we want to do more panel work tonight? Maybe a little bit more. Hey, Richard, how's it going? Said, good evening, Drew. How are you? How's you been doing, man? Not too bad, my friend. Not too bad. Oh, just been keeping really, really damn busy. It's all that life stuff that keeps happening, you know? Keeps you busy and crazy, you know? May is a busy month for the family in the fact that my wife's birthday on the 3rd, my mother-in-law's birthday on the 7th. There's Mother's Day, I think, on the 12th or 13th. We got so much stuff going on. We have other birthdays this month, and my nephew's birthday is the 22nd. My dad's birthday is the 29th. This is a really busy month for birthdays for us. So we've got all these family events going on. My brother-in-law's sister's birthday is coming up. This month is a crazy month for birthdays. But that's okay. That's okay. We love it. So, and we finally finished paying all the taxes for the month of March. In April, We had personal taxes, business taxes due, payroll taxes, sales tax, all that stuff was all due in the month of April. Crazy, crazy, crazy. But we got everything done on time, in full. So we're all happy about that. Had to get a little bit of help from the boy. He helped me out with a couple things, but he knows I'm good for it. He knows I'm good for it. All right. I completely forgot that spot. That spot needed to be done in black. All right, so all right. How's that look? How's that look? That looks good to me. All right, we're going to clean this up a little bit if I can find my eraser, which I don't know where's at. Where it is at. So do I have a... I have an eraser I can use, but this isn't a very good one. It's all right. So, for that backup story I was mentioning before, I was going to work on some character designs, and I may work on that next, since I'm not gonna add many more to this because I'm gonna screw it up. Richard says, "Funny how life can be. Yes, yeesh, too many birthdays. Yeah, business taxes are a nightmare, especially when it comes to store fixtures." Well, I made the mistake. Usually, I do our personal taxes and our business taxes in the middle of March, but then I just delayed till April, because you have till April 15th to do it. And not realizing that there was quarterly taxes, monthly taxes, year-end taxes. I ended up making everything all due at the same time, which is not the way you should do it. You should spread that stuff out, especially if you can. All right, let me see. Let me get well, I may just do this on just a standard old piece of paper. That might be fine. So, hey Charles, how's it going then? He says, "Hi friend. I am liking the panel work." Well, thank you, Richard. It's coming along. We're working on stuff, but okay. So, in the story is of a rival kingdom, and the princess has been kidnapped, and the kingdom are like tiger people. And I had done a drawing of a girl. She was very much a humanoid looking character. She had a small little cat nose, and she was very, very cute. And I never did anything with it. And then I realized later that could absolutely be my my princess character. And her mother in the story was she had been like a warrior princess. She had been a very famous warrior. Part of the idea is that Hero's oldest sister had married the king or the emperor of this clan, and she became the empress, and her husband was a very famous demon slayer. And he was part of a group of demon slayers, which included the princess's mother. She was a very famous demon hunter warrior. And they had all passed. I think the idea in the story was that there were a few of them still around, but not very many of them. Hero's sister, who is the empress, her husband had been missing, presumed dead in battle, and was not in the picture anymore. And this princess's mother was deceased. She had died. She had died in battle. She was, whatever. And the story that I was developing for this character, and honestly, this really doesn't look anything like her. I got to go back and look at my reference picture because she was really cute, much more humanoid than any of the other characters. Um, but she's part tiger, so she has stripes, kind of very much similar to Tigra from Marvel, but younger and maybe a little cuter. And her mother. Okay, the part of the story that I'm working on is her mother, who was a famous, demon slayer, who's no longer with us, who's died, is actually a ghost now in the story, and is kind of haunting her daughter, and her daughter's the only one that can see her. And so she's going on these adventures, or she's trying to go on adventures, and her mother is constantly following her around. And I don't know where I got the idea from. I was watching something, and there was a character in the story that was being haunted by a ghost, a family member, and I thought I really want to do a story with a ghost in it, and it fits perfectly with this story idea. And the idea is that the princess has been kidnapped, but she has her mother's ghost with her at all times, kind of trying to help her throughout the story. And I don't know. I'm still working on developing the character and the story, but the idea is that she's constantly talking to somebody, and it's the ghost of her dead mother. And we'll see how that goes. I'm still trying to work on the idea for the story. You know what's so funny? I was reading a magazine that was talking about the character of Tigra, that she was originally a character called the Cat, and she became Tigra, and eventually joined the Avengers at one point and so forth. But in the story, I was looking at they had pictures of original art of her when she first appeared, and one of the things I didn't realize is that her stripes, on tiger characters in my world, I always draw stripes going this way, inward. In the original design for Tigra, if this was her leg or whatever, her stripes went like this, where they went back and forth. They came from both sides, where I've always drawn my stripes for my characters only going one way, never coming back up the top. So, that's one little difference between my tiger-looking character and the character that kind of inspired her, which would be, she obviously has some type of top on, but let's see. There we go. We'll make it simple. Maybe make it torn. Yeah. And of course, she got some type of bottom on. Maybe a belt buckle here. And a skirt of some type. I'm not drawing her naked. Alright. And then, of course, the mother. The idea for the mother was that she was more... that she was always helicopter mom. Yes, very much so. Very much so. I think part of the idea for the story is that the mom was a famous warrior, and she wants her daughter to be a famous warrior, but her daughter doesn't want to do that, maybe she has the ability to do it, but she doesn't want to do it. She doesn't want to follow in her mother's footsteps. And I'm still, like I said, I'm still trying to develop the idea behind the story. All I know is that the daughter wants to be her own person, wants to go out and maybe go on adventures, but she doesn't want to be, you know, the warrior that her mother was. And honestly, I think she easily could be. I'm not looking at my reference for this character, so that's probably why I'm just free balling it here. Sometimes I can get away with that, and sometimes I can't. There is a tigress character that I started to develop in Crom, which is a character by the name of Sheba, and she may be this character, this girl, the princess here, may be a distant relative of her, but she has more of a she looks more like a tiger. This is, I've got to look at the tiger's ears. I think they have small ears. I may have drawn them way too big here, but I have to look at my reference because her mother is like really, really thick. She'd be what we would consider a muscle mommy. Oh, I find that so hot. Don't tell my wife that, but she knows that. She knows I think muscle women are hot. Some muscle women are hot. Give me a Gina Carano or what was that other woman's name? Who's like really, really hot, and she could probably break me with one pinky. I don't know. There's something hot about that. Oh, I reveal too much to you guys, don't I? Let's see here. So she's got attributes of her mother. She looks a lot like her. Her mother has probably a larger, thinner nose. I think part of the idea that I had is that her mom looks more like a feline, and she looks more humanoid, but she still has the little cat nose. Maybe she'll grow into it, I don't know. But the idea is that she's haunted by the ghost of her mother. It could make for an interesting relationship. We'll see. But I'm working on the ideas, so I know this character over here looks more manly, but that was part of her thing, is that she was very much a very, very strong female character, and strong as in she could break you. She could break you if she tried. That's probably one of the reasons why the king was so attracted to her, is because she was such a strong female character. Love that inner strength type thing. But she had not only inner strength, she had outer strength. Alright, so we'll play around with the idea a little bit. Hey Manuel, how's it going? Says, good evening, my friend. Drew, hey man, how's it going? Hey, my friend. It says hello to Charles. Richard says hey to Manuel, and Manuel says hello to Richard. Alright, cool. All right, so I gotta go back and I gotta find that original drawing. I did because it was like it, I this face here is too long. I made it a lot smaller and it worked better. So I got to go back and find that original reference. But originally, the princess that gets kidnapped, you only see her like in a flashback in book three, just telling a little bit about who she is and what's happened. But I wanted to introduce the character earlier and kind of build up a little bit of her story so that when book three comes around and you find out she's been kidnapped, the audience will say, "Oh, we know her. We've already been introduced to her. She's not just some character that just, is mentioned and we know nothing about her." So, doing a backup story to introduce the character and her is important to me, I think. There's a lot of stories in the hero universe, in the hero world, and there's like this whole Hawkeye story that I'm doing now. It's going to continue the story of Hawkeye and his adventure, but it's going to introduce another new character and something else that could happen in the future. Hero's world is not small. It's not, even though the books focus on Hero and his adventure, there's a lot of other stuff going on. There's a lot of other characters that we've created or we are creating and that we're developing, and I just have so much fun with these. So we're going to develop more stories, and I think shorter backup stories introducing characters and plot lines and stories is a good way to build the momentum for some of these characters and their stories. So we're going to focus on that a little bit more. Hero Book 1 is pretty much done. I'm still going through and picking through and fixing some little things that annoy me. Hero Book 2, I haven't looked at it in a while, but that one was pretty much, there was probably maybe 2 things in that entire book that I want to change and update. So as those things happen, things are going to be rolling a lot faster. So, oh boy, oh boy. All right, let me see what else is going on. Let me just switch back over here real quick. Let's see. Manuel says, "I'm doing good. I'm back from the hospital from over the weekend. Very good. I'm glad you're home. Excellent." Richard says, "Sorry to hear that, Manuel. I don't like hospitals. Nobody does. Nobody does." Manuel says, "Hope you're feeling better, sir," says Richard. Manuel says, "I was at the emergency room Saturday morning. I can't breathe. My chest hurts and go different hospital on Sunday at night, and I had surgery on Monday afternoon. My heart, oh my goodness, had fluid around it, but I'm okay." Dude, please don't scare us like that. Manuel, get rest. Whatever the doctor tells you to do, get some rest, and we will see you on Saturday. Or actually, no, we'll see you Friday night over at Richard's channel, okay? And Manuel says, "But I'm home today, taking care of yourself." Okay, excellent, excellent. All right, well, we're going to wrap up now. Guys, please be good. I need everybody to stay right where they are. Richard, you too. I got to get some stories out of you. One of these days, we're going to sit down, we're going to talk some stories, all right, my friend? Actually, Richard, I got to tell you, I pulled Todd and Avery aside, and I was telling them that we have some really, I don't know if they're good stories, but we find them interesting stories about some of our adventures to conventions and meeting artists and doing stuff. And I told them, I said, "Listen, we need to sit down and we need to do like a roundtable type discussion of some of these events and get these on the record and tell stories." I said, I want to encourage Richard to tell his stories. So one of these days we're going to sit down and we're going to talk, we're going to tell stories, This is the best way to do it. But Manuel, thank you, sir, for coming. I'm glad to hear you're doing better. I look forward to talking to you and seeing more of you on Friday and Saturday. And Richard, once again, my friend, do well. Please be good. And I look forward to talking to you all again soon. All right, guys. Have a good